sweetie, please don't leave me, don't leave me. And then one of them stops me and he says, this is a crime scene. We found a knife. And in that moment, all I said was, what? Oh my God, he killed her. He said, do you know who did this? I said, yeah. Yes.
I want the beast that took my daughter away from me to know and have no doubt whatsoever that he is safer inside.
23-year-old Celeste Mano's only mistake was showing kindness to a coworker who had lost his job. But this coworker would turn life upside down by obsessively stalking and harassing her. Things got so bad that Celeste was forced to involve the police. But that was not enough to stop the deranged coworker.
Sometimes was within a matter of minutes. She blocked an account, closed her phone, reopened it again half an hour later. There was a new message request from a new random username, and it had come from him.
This would go on for over a year. And then one day, the stalker decides to do the unimaginable. What led to this awful crime? Why didn't the police act sooner to save Celeste? And what happened to the killer? Let's explore.
She was so beautiful.
Well, I think so. I spent 23 years letting her know how blessed I was. It's almost like I can hear her. She'll say, oh, stop, Mum. You're my mum. That's what she'd say when I used to say, you're so beautiful, because I always told her.
Celeste Mano was a beautiful, vibrant, and kind 23-year-old who had a bright future ahead of her. She was born in Melbourne, Australia to her parents, Tony Mano and Aggie DeMauro, and had two brothers, one older and another younger. She was super close with her family and loved dancing and hanging out with friends. One of her friends described how Celeste was always there for her and was a very talented, beautiful, and smart person. Another friend said that she was literally the brightest person in any room. At some point, Celeste started working at a call center where she was known for her kind and caring nature. She was always friendly with everyone and would often go out of her way to help. Everyone liked her, and she had many friends at work. It was while at the call center that Celeste met and fell in love with a fellow coworker, Chris Risdale. They started dating sometime around November 2020, and they seemed super into each other.
Time with her was just always amazing. When she was smiling, you could see it from a mile away, and she always just lit up, and her laugh was infectious when she got going.
But not everyone was happy about this newfound romance. Another coworker by the name of Louis Sacco hated the fact that Celeste had chosen to be with someone other than him, and he swore to make her pay. Louis Sacco was born in Iraq in around 1984 to Christian parents. He was the first of 5 children, and his family moved to Australia in 1992 through a humanitarian visa. Sacco, along with his brothers and sisters, grew up in Roxburgh Park, which is north of Melbourne. Despite the challenges of being a non-English speaking immigrant in a new country, his family described him as being caring and a supportive brother and son. He performed really well in school and was actually very good in math. However, after he got to college, Louis Sacco's personality began to change as he became more withdrawn and isolated. He felt rejected by other students and struggled to fit in. After graduating from university, Sacco got retail jobs, but he was mostly unemployed. In April 2018, Sacco got a job at the Serco call center, the same place where Celeste was working. She was a team leader and did not interact that much with Sacco. That is, until the day that he was fired in June 2019. Celeste was asked to escort him out of the building, and being the kind person that she was, she tried to comfort him, telling him not to worry, that everything would be okay and that he would get another job soon. However, this act of kindness would turn out to be a mistake, as Sacco mistook it for interest, and he kissed Celeste on the cheek, thanking her for her kindness.
Somewhat upset because she goes, I really felt bad for him, so I just extended my hand to wish him all the best. She goes, and he plants a kiss on my cheek, Mum. I must have gone tomato red. I was so embarrassed. And I said, oh, you're such a drama queen, sweetie. He's probably had a crush on you all along, and you haven't even realized.
But this wasn't an ordinary crush. In fact, at any moment, neither Celeste nor her mother knew just how dangerous this would get. A few days after this incident, Sako contacted Celeste on Instagram. "I'm sorry, but I can't stop thinking about you. I've never felt this way about anyone in my entire life. It's bordering OCD. I'm totally infatuated with you, captivated and fascinated by you. You're all I think about. But after leaving you, my productivity in my personal life and my new job is impacted. This obsession with you, which is a crush, is an addictive and destructive feeling that's interfering with my ability to concentrate, deal with others, and go about my daily routine. To put an end to my suffering, can you be direct with me and just tell me how you feel toward me? Candidness is one of the traits I value most in people." Celeste replied to this by saying, "Hi Lue, those are really sweet words, and I appreciate you saying all that to me. I'm a bit surprised to read this all, as it is new to me. As much as I appreciate this, I only feel a professional way towards you, and I wish you all of the best towards your new job and journey." This response should have been enough to end this. She clearly stated that she was not interested in him and only saw him in a professional way. If he valued candidness as he claimed, he should have gone about his life and left Celeste alone. But he didn't. He continued sending more and more messages.
Some of them almost were like poetry, and there's just heaps of these messages. And so I said, oh my God. They're all about how crazy in love he is with her. He can't eat, sleep, he can't function. He can't even look for work.
Celeste tried to get him to stop, telling him that she was uncomfortable with all of this and that he should respect her wishes. But Sako didn't care about her feelings and continued to persistently harass her. And even blocking him didn't help because he'd return with another Instagram account.
Sometimes was within a matter of minutes. She blocked an account, closed her phone, reopened it again half an hour later. There was a new message request from a new random username, and it had come from him.
The relentless stalking was becoming too much for Celeste as she was constantly living in fear of what he might do next.
It was painful to watch Celeste go through it. The way she stressed over it, the way she lost sleep, the way she felt in every way uncomfortable about the situation. That was the hardest part.
At first, Celeste thought that Sako would get bored after a while and go away, but he didn't. The obsessive stalking continued for about 6 months until Celeste and her mother decided to go to the police.
She didn't want to go to the police. This particular message he'd sent, it was no longer one of his love messages. This sounded like an angry message.
What did it say?
He says, I'm going to climb up and show the world that I am somebody. It was just the way it was written. And so I said to her, Celeste, he's clearly not getting bored. He's not going away.
But even after reporting everything to the police, they didn't do anything. They said that Sako had not broken any law and that Celeste should just ignore him. And so the relentless stalking continued for another 6 months, with Sako now waiting for Celeste outside her work and following her home. The messages he had been sending had also become quite graphic.
I'm a very visual person. So visualizing what he wanted to do to her. And it was in the most vulgar. I've never read something like that.
Celeste's family was now more worried that Sako might try to do something to Celeste, and they decided to go back to the police. This time, Sako was served with a personal safety intervention order, which is like a restraining order. Celeste thought that this was it, and that Sako would finally leave her alone. And for about a month, it seemed to work, as she didn't hear anything from him. But then one day, a 3-page letter appeared on Celeste's Instagram account. It was from Sako, begging her to stop ruining his life. Only you can end this now, Celeste. Please end this nonsense by withdrawing the order and stopping the charges against me for stalking and harassment. I want to live my life happily with my family, just as much as you do. This is my final communication and interaction with you. I have zero interest in you, and I do not want any more involvement with you. Celeste, I beg of you, please end this. This is absolutely unnecessary. You didn't need to go down this path to try to stop me messaging you. For God's sake, Celeste, it was just Instagram DMs. They weren't threatening threatening messages. The gaslighting in this is real. Celeste and her mom reported this, and Sacco was arrested and charged with breaching the restraining order. And after that, the harassment seemed to stop.
He disappears. And I said, he got scared. Thank God. Please learned his lesson now. We literally thought it was over.
But as they would soon find out, things were far from over. On November 16th of 2020, Celeste posted a picture of her and her new boyfriend, Chris Ridsdale. It was the first picture of them together as a couple, and she was pretty happy to share it with everyone.
Just happy. Just in every sense of the word. Celeste was just so adamant that it would be my new profile picture on Instagram, and that she couldn't wait to put it up.
But this cute photo would ultimately lead to her death. When Sacco saw the picture of Celeste and her boyfriend, he was enraged that she hadn't chosen him. At some minutes to 4 a.m., he drove to her address armed with a hammer and a knife, which he had bought 3 months earlier. He scaled the side fence, walked into the backyard, and used the hammer to smash the glass of her bedroom window. He then viciously attacked her with a knife as she raised her arms trying to defend herself. He was only there for 2 minutes, but that was enough to cause fatal injuries to Celeste.
It was like something I'd just never heard. It was like a million pieces of glass just crashing. And all of a sudden I heard, oh. So I remember just going, Celeste, and I just ran out of bed and I'm just screaming her name down the hallway. I go, Celeste, sweetie, what happened? And I realise that I'm running all over glass, I'm seeing blood. I still don't get it, and I'm pulling her out of the bed. She's not helping me at all, but I see all that glass, and so I thought I didn't want to drop her on all that.
It took a while for Celeste's mom to come to terms with what had happened. She called the emergency services as she desperately tried to save Celeste's life, but sadly there was nothing she could do.
Please don't leave me, don't leave me. And then one of them stops me and he says, this is a crime scene, we found a knife. And in that moment, all I said was, what? Oh my God, he killed her. He said, you know who did this? I said, yeah. Yes!
Aggie told the police that Sacco was responsible for her daughter's murder. He had jabbed Celeste 23 times in a span of only 2 minutes. One of the blows struck her heart.
She was asleep in her bed in our home. And he did this under my watch. That's something I have to live with.
The CCTV footage at the home captured Sacco fleeing the scene in his car before the ambulance arrived. He then drove over to the police station and reportedly told them that Celeste was dead, saying, you know what happened? It's your fault. She's dead. She's dead. Go have a look.
Leaves the murder weapon behind. Drives to a cop station. I said, Jesus Christ, mark my words. He's going to try and get off on mental impairment.
And that's exactly what Sacco did. He claimed that he had suffered psychosis during the murder and didn't know what had happened. His first mental assessment turned out inconclusive, but he requested a second opinion, and a psychiatrist found that he had an extreme personality disorder, which caused a significant impairment of his mental functioning at the time of the crime. In a 30-page report, the psychiatrist found that Sacco was not only unfit to stand trial, but would remain that way for at least a year. However, another psychiatrist said that Sacco could get fit for trial sooner depending on the medication. This back and forth along with the pandemic delayed the trial for over 3 years. Then finally Sacco pleaded guilty to murdering Celeste, but only after it was found that he knew exactly what he was doing when he committed the crime. The prosecution argued that Sacco was motivated to kill out of rejection, humiliation, jealousy, and rage, which had peaked when he saw a picture of Celeste and her boyfriend. It was revealed in court that he had even downloaded a floor plan to Celeste's house in order to know wherever her bedroom was. The prosecution asked for a life sentence, saying that Sacco had also relentlessly tried to shift the blame and avoid responsibility for his conduct since the murder, which indicated that he was not willing to engage in rehabilitation and treatment.
The risk to the public, undeniable. Sacco smashed through Celeste Mano's bedroom windows. stabbing her 23 times. A forensic psychiatrist telling the court he flew into a jealous rage after seeing a photo of his former colleague and her new boyfriend. But the prosecution argued the murder was carefully planned and executed.
Psycho purchased the murder weapon 24 hours after he was arrested for stalking Celeste. He drove past her house on multiple occasions and Googled the floor plan to pinpoint her bedroom in the months leading up to the attack.
On the other hand, the defense said that Sacco was open to rehabilitation and that the life sentence was not appropriate. He argued that while there was evidence of some premeditation, Sacco's mental state in the months before the murder was complex and shifting. He said that the motive was more complex than the prosecution made out and was complicated by Sacco's extreme personality disorder, which contributed extensively to the reasons why he committed this offense and reduced his moral culpability. A forensic psychiatrist told the court that after examining Sacco, he could still not explain how he developed such extreme personality disorder, severe depression, and body dysmorphia. He said that Sacco was not psychopathic, but his personality disorder was the most extreme that forensic psychiatrists had witnessed in his career. The doctor's analysis perhaps provided an explanation for some of Sacco's behavior since he was arrested. He initially blamed police for what happened, made up a story that he had suffered a psychosis, pleaded guilty to murder, but later told lawyers that he wanted to reverse his plea before sacking 2 different legal teams. He had done his own cross-examination of the pathologist who carried the autopsy and was upset when the prosecutor claimed that he ran to the murder scene, saying that he had only walked briskly. At times during the hearings, his body shook as he held his hands together and moved his legs up and down. His most visible outburst was when Celeste's mother screamed at him, making him hit the side of his head with an open palm. According to the forensic psychiatrist, Sacco's untreated medical conditions would have contributed to him stalking and murdering Celeste, but had not reached a level where the killer was unable to control his actions. He knew it was wrong, but his ability to appreciate the wrongfulness and do the right thing was significantly impacted. The doctor warned that it was likely that Sacco would reoffend and that the current treatment available in prison could not meet his needs. In particular, the psychiatrist said that if Sacco was attracted to any female prison guard, they could be at risk. I would want the people in prison to watch out for this scenario.
A new blow for Celeste Mano's family, with the revelation her killer is unrepentant and highly likely to strike again. Luay Sacco is facing life behind bars, the prosecution pushing for the harshest possible penalty for the 23-year-old's murder. The court heard the 39-year-old killer is considered high risk and could possibly stalk female prison guards who show him kindness.
During the sentencing, a Victorian Supreme Court justice described the murder as appalling and profoundly disturbing before sentencing Sacco to 36 years behind bars without parole for 30 years.
Aggie had awoken to the sound of breaking glass and had gone to check on her daughter. She found Celeste lying on the bed covered in blood.
The judge said that his case did not warrant life imprisonment because of Sacco's psychological conditions at the time, reducing his moral culpability to some degree. She also said that Sacco committed the crime with chilling efficiency and made sure that he had the advantage over her by breaking into her bedroom at night. Crimes such as these are profoundly disturbing. Celeste's family, dressed in all black, bowed their heads and some cried as they heard the sentence. They felt that the sentence was just not enough for Sacco to pay for his crime.
Aggie DeMauro prepared a statement hoping for the best. But she says the system has let her down.
It's outrageous, absolutely unbelievable that the court decided to grant him mercy, even though he showed Celeste none.
She wanted her daughter's killer, Luay Sacco, jailed for life. Instead, Justice Dixon delivered this sentence.
Luay Sacco, I sentence you to 36 years imprisonment. I fix a non-parole period of 30 years.
Clearly, I'm devastated. We all are. I want the beast that took my daughter away from me to know and have no doubt whatsoever that he is safer inside.
What do you think about this case and Sacco's sentence? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that bell button.